It evidently was removed and then sewn back.
Why would someone have removed a strip from the side of the shroud? Jackson believes that it was used to secure the body inside the shroud, in accordance with Jewish burial customs.
On the shroud, we have the legs, looks like they're being held together, and likewise the arms. In a natural position would be off like this, but they're not. It's like the arms are being held together directly. It's as if there's something on the outside of this cloth holding this shrouded package, if you will, together. I would submit that a candidate for this is the side strip that runs along the length of the shroud was cut off and then used in sort of a makeshift manner to hold the body together. And it was later, for whatever reason, reattached back onto the shroud, so we have it today. But that's a hypothesis that is, I think, consistent with what we know about the shroud.
He also believes it helps to explain one of the most important passages in the New Testament.
We know from the Gospels that Christ was crucified and died and then was taken off the cross. And according to the tradition of the Jews, his body would have been wrapped in linen and brought to a tomb. And according to the Gospels, it was the morning of the third day in which Jesus rose again.
What happened in the tomb early Sunday morning? Mary goes to the tomb and sees the stones rolled aside from the entrance. Sees that the body is gone. Runs to find Simon Peter and John. And she says to them, someone has taken the Lord's body, and I don't know where they put him. And not just stop right there. Mary's first impression is that someone stole her body. So John and Peter run to the tomb.
And John arrives first. And as he's walking into that tomb, expecting to see the crucified Christ, his master, his teacher, he finds that there is a linen, a shroud.
And John says, and I saw and believed that he had risen. So very interesting. Mary thinks the body's stolen. John and Peter go in and see the cloth lying there and believe that he had risen. So the question is, what did they see that Mary didn't see? And I believe that it has to do with the linen shroud. The shroud is the first piece of evidence that indicated that something extraordinary had happened here, and certainly not that the body was stolen. Now, if you saw the cloth wrapped up and balled up and thrown into a corner somewhere, well then sure, okay, maybe the body was stolen. But the way that the shroud was laid out, flat on the stone sepulchre, just the same way that it was on Friday when Jesus was placed in it, strips of linen bound around the outside of the cloth, it was obvious that something extraordinary had happened here, something beyond human reason.
That moment in which the tomb was seen empty for the first time could be described as evidence that Jesus truly was who he said he was. That's the belief that all of us Christians profess. It's the good news of the gospel.
Transformed into light and gone.
2,000 years later, the graphics team in upstate New York is preparing a very different kind of resurrection.
The face of Jesus was like a nebulous thing. How would we know if we got here? How would we know we had done it? I do a lot of 3D work, and I think this is the most difficult project I've ever worked on.
It's human nature. We always want to put a name with a face. The scripture gives us the name. The shroud gives us the face.
Though the team's focus has been on the face, the shroud also contains information on the size and shape of the figure's body.
The shroud does show both the frontal and dorsal image of a naked man crucified and dead. And the information is there, and we did reference that information. Body in the Shroud of Turin, as we've shown it, is very close to what we believe the position and the shape and the body type of Jesus was. In addition to that, it tells a story apart from the face, and that's of the Passion.
Having isolated all the blood from the image on the shroud, Downing was able to apply it to the model of the body, creating the first forensically accurate image of the man many believe to be Jesus in death. The result is astonishing.
It looks like an automobile accident. That's the best way I can describe it. It's devastating, vicious. That's all you can say about vicious.
With 6 months of intensive labor behind him, there is one final task left to do.
The eyelashes were in fact the last thing I worked on. There was a slight misalignment of the eyelashes, and I just wanted to make they sat on the eye in the correct way. I mean, at the end of it, it has to look good. Then you have to let go.
After being hidden for centuries, the face of the man many believe to be Jesus is about to be revealed.